If you're an entrepreneur and you often feel stuck or unmotivated, or you simply procrastinate, this video is for you. And if that is you, then I'm guessing you've probably already searched online for loads of hacks and tactics and you've tried them all. Nothing really ever seems to work long term. I know that because that was me as well. But in this video, I will give you the fundamental solution that helped me get to the root of this problem. And all it really takes is these three pillars. And I will explain them to you in this video. But first of all, let me actually explain to you how I got here and why any of this is relevant. So, when I started my entrepreneurship journey, long story short, procrastinated a lot. I was meant to be doing cold calls, outreach to get clients. And instead, I was watching Andrew Huberman videos on YouTube. So I was procrastinating hard. And guess what I blamed it on? You guessed it, discipline. I just said, I need more discipline. I need to be more disciplined. But was that really the issue? Was lack of discipline really the problem there? Well, I decided to find out. And essentially, long story short, I decided to become extremely dedicated to my work and just commit fully. And I was actually so dedicated that I was working 14-hour days, 6 days a week. And instead of avoiding doing cold calls, I did 500 per day at my peak. And I found out and I realized at that moment that although I no longer procrastinated, other problems had crept up that were honestly a lot worse. And specifically, I felt lost, burned out, and just completely drained constantly, honestly, but also overwhelmed. And I could not understand how I had solved this problem by becoming disciplined, but then not actually solving all my problems for good. I just had different problems come up right away. And since I didn't know any better, I decided to just hustle on anyway. And it wasn't until a good few months later that I learned the truth. And this was something I learned from various people and from mentors and from studying successful people and books. But I can kind of summarize it by giving you Naval Ravikant's philosophy. And when it comes to Naval Ravikant, this book here is written about him. It's a great book. And essentially, Naval Ravikant's whole philosophy is escape competition through authenticity. Because basically, he says no one can compete with you on being you. And what that means is instead of trying to follow trends and, essentially what's hot, as he says, you follow your own genuine intellectual curiosity, passion, purpose, and innate talents. I know that's gonna sound super surprising right now because you've heard probably 1,000 times that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I've heard that too, and I used to believe in it. And it is actually half true. But the thing is that people, when they say that, they miss the second half. And that's that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, but it's only by combining both of them that you can become irreplaceable. Because the thing is that anyone can work hard. And what did working hard alone get me in my business? Yep, I was overwhelmed, drained, and lost. That's all it got me. And that's because anyone can work hard. But it's only by leaning into what makes you, you, because after all, once again, we're all different and it's pretty foolish not to, well, to think otherwise. And when you lean into your talents, they become strengths. And that's how you become intrinsically driven. Now, I say intrinsically driven there because before I was like a car going full throttle, except in neutral. I was in neutral. So no wonder I felt like I was stuck and constantly burned out because sure, I was working hard, going full throttle, but in neutral. And the reason I say, and by the way, so when I was in neutral, that's like, well, I was pursuing extrinsic goals. Basically, I was relying on extrinsic motivation. And extrinsic motivation is basically like a dangling carrot. You only do something because you have to do it to get something else. You don't actually want to do the thing. It's just a means to an end. And yes, so that's called extrinsic motivation. You're motivated by external goals, for example, things outside of yourself. And the problem there is that that's once again like being in neutral. And so instead of actually pressing the gas, it's like pushing your car off of a cliff to go fast. Sure, you'll gain loads of speed, but before long, you crash, as I experienced myself. And it's only once you actually shift into gear that you can become intrinsically driven. Basically, when you're intrinsically driven, you actually want to do the thing. And it's like a car having an engine. And that taught me there, once I actually did shift my car into gear and I followed Naval Ravikant's advice, and I actually did pursue my own curiosity and passion and purpose, that's when I became intrinsically driven. And I realized that I was working hard and I was disciplined, but it didn't feel like hard work. It felt like playing. I just wanted to work hard. And so putting in the effort became effortless, ironically. And that taught me that actually, if we rely on motivation alone, then we might get somewhere, but we're constantly going to keep stopping. And equally, if we rely on discipline alone, then we might get somewhere, but we don't really even want to move that much. We're forcing ourselves. And that's why we need both to have drive. And in my opinion, when we have both motivation and discipline, we become driven. And in just a sec, I'll tell you even better how to become driven by design using this framework I created. But when we're motivated alone, without discipline, it's like being in gears 1 and 2. You might move somewhere, but you're probably going to keep stalling, and you're not going fast enough to turn on cruise control. So basically, when you rely only on curiosity and passion, which, by the way, that's super important, but when you only follow your passion, and this is why when people say, follow your passions, it's genuine advice. They're meaning good, but passion alone isn't enough. Because if you wait for motivation to strike, then you're relying on those specific moments when it does come. And that's called conditional success. Basically, only do something if the conditions are right. And those kind of people don't really succeed. And once again, if we rely on only those two, we can't turn on cruise control, which is basically consistency or discipline. Whereas if we have no motivation, we don't want to do the thing, but we rely only on discipline, that's like trying to jam your car into third or fifth gear from standstill. From every corner that you come out of, you try and jam your car into third or fifth gear. So no wonder it feels like everything is grinding, because literally everything is grinding. And by definition, grinding means there's loads of friction. So your engine has to work 10 times as hard for the same result. Whereas if we take this all in order, that's when we can become driven consistently and actually build discipline and feel like we're in flow. Because when we combine all of these, we feel like we're in flow. And on the topic of flow, well, this is all these things here, all these elements, these are what Stephen Kotler calls the intrinsic stack. And it's only by combining all of these that we can once again build momentum and actually feel like we're in flow. And flow is this kind of state that it's in a moment state, but you can also experience flow in terms of momentum in your life. So that means day to day, your work doesn't feel like a grind, and living doesn't feel like grinding like it did for me before. It feels like you're in flow, like it does for me now. And to really apply this, I've created a framework. And all you really need is drive, direction, and development. And when you have a drive, you basically give yourself purpose, autonomy, and mastery when you combine all these. And by the way, these three are not random. I didn't choose these randomly, and they're not my opinion. This is based on human biology, not human psychology, but biology. Basically, the self-determination theory, or SDT for short, says that we have three innate needs, all of us, all humans, which are purpose, which is basically the need for relatedness, to be connected to something higher or bigger than ourselves and to other people in general. Autonomy is the need to have control over our lives. And mastery is the need for competence, to constantly get better at what matters to us. Because there's no worse feeling than the feeling of being stuck. And you feel like you're making no progress in your life, even though you know time is passing by and time is limited, but you're making no progress. And that's why mastery is so crucial. And it's one of the most potent drivers. When I say potent, I just mean it's one of the best and biggest drivers for us as humans. And that's why combining all of these makes you so, well, it makes you driven by design. And the reason, so you'll notice that, purpose, autonomy, mastery, you have those three here. And the reason there is also curiosity and passion is because curiosity is like the spark and passion is like the flame for the fire, which is purpose. And so basically, these are all in order. And when you start with curiosity, okay, let me actually tell you, by the way, the reason for these. And I've kind of touched on this, but it's once again human biology. And this is where neurochemistry comes in, but I'll make it super simple. So basically, when you pursue your work and what you do for work, you get to pursue your curiosities, you utilize dopamine. Basically, your brain gives you dopamine when you're pursuing your own curiosities. And when I say dopamine, I mean good dopamine, not cheap dopamine like you hear people getting from TikTok. And let me just take a drink. All right, keep going. So when you pursue your own curiosities, that's essentially your brain gives you dopamine. And that's like pressing the gas pedal in your car. You move forward. And then passion basically is, well, it gives you more dopamine. So it's like pressing your gas a little bit harder. And something interesting happens when you get to purpose. And when you get to purpose, there is also dopamine. There's probably even more dopamine, but you also add oxytocin. And oxytocin is basically just the neurochemical that is responsible or promotes bonding and connection. So basically, that's like the road itself. Because without purpose, your journey, well, you don't know why you're on the journey. It's like the journey is meaningless. It doesn't even matter because you don't know why you're taking the journey. Whereas with purpose, every mile matters and the journey is meaningful to you and you feel connected to your work. And the reason this is so crucial is because when you feel connected to your work, you want to do the work, right? You feel motivated and consistently so also. It's not just random spikes of dopamine or motivation, sorry. You're consistently motivated. And you also become more productive and focused and the whole lot and energized and everything because once again, you feel connected to the work. And then autonomy is once again basically just the freedom to pursue your purpose. And then mastery is the ability to constantly get better at your craft in pursuit of your purpose. And I, like you, I'm on this journey myself, and I'm mainly here in fourth gear. I'm also touching fifth gear because right now I'm doing what is true to me. I'm working with my ideas, which I love doing, and I'm teaching, which I hope inspires you or helps you on your journey, which also is part of my purpose. So this work that I'm doing right now is like I'm living this. This is not something random that I'm giving you. I'm actually living this, and I created this not by studying in uni for years, but by being in the trenches myself and experiencing the pain of having no idea about any of this and studying vigorously to learn about this so I could escape that pain. And well, now my hope is that I can give you these lessons so you can also come out of the pain if you yourself are in there. And if you would like help as well with, if you are experiencing pain, I have my community link below and you can join and get help. I'm also offering free consultation just now. But as usual, whatever you decide to do, I wish you all the best. I hope this truly did help you and you are able to apply this to become more motivated so you can make more income and impact with your business. And well, until next time, be mega. Ciao. Oh, and remember, it's already there within you. Because all of these things, your curiosity, your passion, your purpose, these aren't things you find out there. They're things you find within you. So look within and know yourself. For the last time, all the best. Ciao.